Act 10 with Arnab Goswami.
And that's it on the News Hour tonight. Viewers, through the show today, many of you called in to give your views and speak up and join the debate. I'm really sorry we were not taking calls live, so I couldn't speak to you. But I want you to know that tonight and every night, bringing the News Hour to you has been my privilege. That your voice gives us strength, and that on the News Hour tonight and every night, it is finally your voice and your participation that counts. Only for tonight. Good night, ladies and gentlemen, and goodbye.
Now to India. One of the country's most controversial and recognisable TV anchors, Arnab Goswami, has announced that he's quitting his job with the news channel Times Now. He has a hard-hitting interview style and won him many fans, but to others he was considered offensive and too over the top. Either way, he was a staple of the evening TV viewing, that much can be agreed on, for millions of people. With me is Rahul Juggler from the BBC Asian Network. He actually began his career in Mumbai 10 years ago. We'll get to that in a moment. Good to have you with us, Rahul.
Thank you, Nola. And you know what a day it's been in the Indian media, because let's do it Arnab Goswami style. Okay, Nola, welcome to the program. Are you going to resign?
My question would be, who is Arnab Goswami?
So Arnab Goswami is in many ways known as one of the most bombastic, aggressive TV anchors in India. In many ways, he redefined how TV news is done in India, which before Arnab Goswami was pretty deferential, and news anchors sort of thanked their guests for coming on. But Arnab Goswami's style is completely different. The screen is full of talking heads, all talking over each other, lots of graphics with lots of animated sort of questions being asked. In many ways, he was one of the hardest hitting news anchors, raising a lot of questions around corruption. His critics have often attacked him by saying that you've made the news a completely sort of a very tabloid version of the news. You've sensationalized the programs, but actually he is pretty popular in India. The reason is that a lot of viewers like this. In India, whenever there's a big corruption scandal, for example, there's always a committee which is set up, and lots of people feel as if politicians sort of get off the hook very easily. And here you have, at 9 p.m. every night, when you switch on the television, Arnab Goswami live on air asking politicians the really tough questions that nobody else has the guts to ask.
And these other 8 boxes, perhaps, of other guests speaking over each other, as you mentioned. But you worked with him 10 years ago. Talk to me what that experience was like.
Well, it's an interesting experience. When I look back, working in the Indian news media in many ways is sort of almost like being transported inside a beehive. There are lots of frenzied journalists running around, trying to beat each other, trying to get that exclusive, trying to beat each other on breaking news. Who has the news first, in many ways, is sort of claim to fame for a lot of news channels. But remember, this is a country that actually had state-controlled news only 20 years ago. The only thing we watched on Indian television was basically what the Prime Minister did on that day. So, and now there are 400 news channels. So you can imagine the sort of competition there is between these channels and how they try and sort of, break the news before each other.
Well, thanks very much. I am going to thank you, and we'll see what Arnab Goswami does next. Well, back to our top story, and the US